this cauldron of fiery wills and burning competition, rivalries heat up quicker. This is an oval of stolen victories and crushed dreams, filled with volumes of unfinished business. Sooner or later, you all become rivals. With everyone fighting over one finish line, there's never enough glory to go around.
Welcome back to Talladega Superspeedway in the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series. Zach Lindgren is alongside me. I'm Andrew Cardinale. We're up in the booth tonight for the Talladega 160 here in Talladega, Alabama. And we've got one heck of a show for you tonight. We've got the chase grid up right now. You can see the progression as the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series drivers made their way through round one at Chicago, New Hampshire, Dover, and Charlotte. Now we're going to Texas, Kansas, and Phoenix. And we're starting off with Talladega this week. Zach, what can you expect? We're at probably the biggest wild card of them all, and it's going to be one heck of a show.
Honestly, I'm just expecting extremely close racing, as close as it can get. Everybody's going to be going for every position that they can get. At every point that they can get that could lead to a possible championship. I'm just expecting as close as racing as possible and some hard racing, and maybe even an upset winner tonight. I don't know, man, but I'm honestly expecting a really fun race tonight.
All right, well, aside from their win bonuses, everyone's been evened back out for this next round of the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series chase. We've got 8 drivers going into 4 more races before we take 4 more out of it before we get to Homestead. Those 8 drivers currently doing battle here at Talladega, then Kansas, Texas, and Phoenix, are Chris Jennings, probably the MVP of all the races we've done so far here at All-Star Sim Racing. Jeremy Bazemore, who's been right with him. Jeremy Rittenberg, who turned the heat up last week at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Mike Perry, Matthew Cox. Those guys have probably been 2 of the biggest underdogs so far that have really making their voices heard, at least as far as to try and challenge for race wins. You got Kurt Rittenberg, David Dolliver, Doug McCollum, all 3 also very good underdog picks, but I think really it comes down to your top 2, Chris Jennings, Jeremy Bazemore, for your championship pick, really. I think it's going to come down to one of those 2, but we are gridding up now, getting ready for the race. We've got Chris Jennings on pole, Mike Kelly second. He ran, looks like about a 10th.5 slower than Chris Jennings for that second place spot. Blake O'Connell third, Jeremy Bazemore fourth, Matthew Cox fifth, Louis Robinette in 6th, Mike Perry 7th, Jeff Gilmore 8th, Jimmy North 9th, and Scott Brotherton 10th.
Yeah, we got Josh Cheney 11th, James McKee 12th, Mike Payton 13th, Cody Spiker 14th, Joe Hudson 15th, Dale Edlin Jr. 16th, Randy W. Roberts in 17th, the last person to take a time. Everyone else has not taken a time. Scott Smithley will be starting 18th, Aiden Young will be starting 19th, and starting 20th will be Doug McCollum.
All right, well, thank you for taking the back half of the field there. It's going to be one heck of a show. It really is. I mean, we've got, 20 trucks out here for just a jam-packed 60-lap race. It's a bit of a sprint race in terms of restrictor plate racing, and, I mean, these guys are looking at possibly a one-stop race, depending on how they manage their fuel back in the draft. I know I was talking with some of the TN Designs guys, and they're figuring about 31 laps to a tank. That's 14 gallons per tank, so it's really close out of a 60-lap race. If your math is getting you to 30-31, that's about as close as you can cut it. So it's going to be really interesting to see if this race goes green, because that will come into effect, and that's going to be probably the biggest dynamic of the race. Out of every story going on, that's going to be the biggest dynamic if this thing goes green. But certainly being Talladega, we're expecting a couple of big ones. At least one, maybe 2 or 3. You know, it's just the nature of this place. You've got really close racing, like Zach has mentioned, and when you're going that close for 60 laps straight, 180 miles an hour, it just happens.
Yeah, and I mean, coming to Talladega, I mean, you might have a little bit of strategy on the line, but the one thing that's always in a driver's mind coming to Talladega is where's the big one and when's the big one. I mean, there's no escaping it at a super speedway. When you go to Daytona, you may be able to get away with a few green flag stops and, you know, a long green flag run, which is fine and everything. But when you come to a place like Talladega with so many lines that you could take and a lot of drafting help and everything like that, the competition just becomes closer and closer as we come down towards the end of it. Honestly, I'm expecting the big one with about 10 to go, but I'm expecting to see a big one. If these guys can pull the rabbit out of their hat, strategy-wise, and get the win, then I'll be blown away. But I'm expecting a big one here, and I'm expecting it or late, excuse me.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a matter of what in strategy do you employ at the start of this race, and then how do you work to keep yourself up front or get up front coming to the end. I know a lot of guys are immediately going to drop to the back or already are in the back because they didn't qualify and are going to stay there for probably half the race, come in. If this thing somehow goes green, come in, get those tires, and try and work their way back up. But that's dangerous because if you don't have that lead draft, if you are anywhere behind them, that is not going to work because you're immediately playing catch-up, and that's hard to do at a place like this. You're all going the same speeds. So anyways, we're coming out of turn 4 here, getting ready for the green flag. And Zach, I think I'll let you take it away, bud.
All right, well, thank you. We got Chris Jennings and Mike Kelly, on the front row getting ready to come to the green flag. Now, the green flag really waves about halfway through the tri-oval at this track, so we're going to have to wait a little while here before the pace car dives off. I'm expecting the 88 to take off, expecting these guys to kind of file in early. Pace car takes a hard left. We're getting ready to go green here at Talladega, Alabama. Talladega Super Speedway. I hope you guys are getting ready for one heck of a show, because I am. I know it's going to be one. Green flag's getting ready to come out. The 88's leading the field. 67 tucked in deep behind him. Here we come to the green flag. Green flag's out. Here we are racing at Talladega Super Speedway. The 2 gets a good jump outside. The 88 sticking with them.
I tell you what, every time someone gives the command for the green flag here at Talladega, I get chills down my back. And this time was no different. Chris Jennings trying to lead Blake O'Connell around that bottom, get a bit of a nose ahead of the 2 and the 1 on the top. Looks like Matthew Cox going to try and fall in behind now. Jeremy Bazemore moving into 3rd. Mike Kelly stranded up top, hopefully going to get help from Louis Robinette and Jeff Gilmore up top.
And I kind of expected this to happen. Everyone's going to kind of file out. We're going actually 3 wide here for 5th, it looks like. The 2 being stuck on the outside. It looks like his plans to go to the back early. Maybe try to conserve his... conserve everything that he's got, the body, the motor and the truck, everything else, but the 2's falling back quick. That might be part of his strategy as the 88 still leads the field out here.
Yeah, we're going to watch this as he moves his way back. We're going to watch from the cockpit view of the number 2 truck. Mike Kelly was your winner a couple of weeks ago at Dover International Speedway, and he's falling back now, but like I said, that's going to be one of the big strategies played out tonight. A lot of guys are going to try and go to the back early, and it looks like maybe, being that this is internet racing, literally that's what the name pretty much means, iRacing, there's a bit of a connection problem, it looks like, at least from my point of view. His truck is shaking a little bit, so maybe that's one of his other concerns, but he's already going to the back. I'm not sure what position he's in. It looks like about 14th. Yeah,
and as we have a challenge for the lead, I can't get a hook on that number. I believe that is the 84. The 84 is just taking the lead from the 88 with the 3 in suit. They actually made the high line work. It's going to be interesting to see how high of a line they can make work, as we got 3 wide again back here going on for about 4th.
Yeah, you know, the biggest thing that I noticed when I ran a few laps and watched a little bit too during practice with these guys is the top line is where you want to be to make passes. You can run that bottom line all day and try and defend, but at the end of the day, if you aren't running that top line when we get down to lap 60 of 60, it's going to be really hard for you to actually make a pass. It seems like the momentum out of turns 2 and 4 rather, and the side draft that you can use to your advantage are just killer, and they really give you a huge advantage. And we got a wreck!
Coming out of 3, the big one early.
And this is exactly what a lot of guys were afraid of, and I can't believe it already happened, but and Mike Payton gets into it just a little bit. That's going to kill his truck, though. Even that small of an incident is going to kill his truck to the back of number 3. Looks like... I really don't know what happened. Looks like the 3 maybe turned the 84 around.
Yeah, that's what it looked like. It looked like the 84 might have just went up a little bit going into the corner, and just the 3's trying to push him, get the bottom line moving, and just caught him just a little bit.
Well, we're going to take a look back at this, starting all the way back in turns 1 and 2. We've got Chris Jennings following Scott Brotherton and Jimmy North up front. Blake O'Connell just behind Chris, and that top line was coming. They were making an advance, but that's not where the caution even starts. It starts with the 2 leaders up front.
Yeah, it just looks like the 3, like I said, just trying to make sure that bottom line prevails coming out of the corner, stays even with the high line, and just nicks him going into 3, and that's turned the 84 around, and everyone couldn't check up in enough time.
Now, I tell you what, that is huge. We're going to try and watch this one from maybe the chopper cam, see if we can give a better look of everyone that gets involved. Going to go all the way back to turns 1 and 2 again. Just watch as the top line forms and as Scott Brotherton is trying to help that bottom line prevail. Looks like maybe Jimmy North is trying to make sure he could see the yellow lines down there on the inside, make sure he got into the corner fine instead of pushing up. I know that's one big thing that a lot of guys do, is they'll try and leave a little bit of room there. And I think Scott Brotherton just misgauged the push a little bit, got the inside corner of the 84 and spun him right around.
Yeah, and I mean, going into the corner, you would think at a big track like this, you'd be able to see it easily. You'll be able to figure out where the corner is and how to hit it. It's not. When you're behind a truck, all you see is pretty much the rear end of the truck, and that's all you see. And as soon as you get into the corner, that's when you know you're in the corner, as soon as you hit it. So seeing the corner going into it, it's probably one of the most valuable things here at Talladega. And I guess the 84 is trying to get a good entry, or the 3 was trying to see the entry into the corner, and it just didn't mix coming down before the wreck.
We're going to try and give you guys a bit of an onboard view here with somebody that was a little bit further back. Going to see if maybe we can't go with the 57. That's Jeff Gilmore running the Las Vegas Strong truck. Once again, just like last week, our prayers go out to all the families affected here as we watch what happened on this, looks like lap 3 incident, and it was a big one. There's a lot of trucks in it. We're going to have to see who's still left, because I know it's going to involve a lot of chasers. Scott Brotherton, I don't think, is still in the chase, but we'll have to take a look at that in a moment. Looks like most of the chasers actually were towards the back. I know we saw Jeremy Rittenberg go by, and he was going slow, no damage there. So that's certainly good for him. And Jeff Gilmore is no longer in the chase. He was eliminated after last week at Charlotte, so I don't really think too many chases were actually caught up in that aside from... I don't know, we're going to have to take a look, really.
I mean, if you're a chaser and you saw that big wreck happen early, I don't know if that's going to make you happy or if that's going to set in the back of your mind. Me personally, that's going to kind of give me a little bit of a sigh of relief. Now I got less drivers to worry about. I got not less competition, but less excitement to worry about, so to speak. Now I know that I could push a little bit harder and possibly keep my truck up there in order to gain points or something coming down towards the end of the race. But as a driver, me personally, this kind of gives me a little bit of a sigh of relief that the big one happened early. There still could be another one, but it gives me a sigh of relief knowing that the big one has already happened and that it could possibly, that could have been it.
For sure. Well, real quick, Zach, we're going to take a quick look at the chase grid coming into this wild card of Talladega as more cars come down pit road. Chris Jennings up top. He's actually leading right now. That would be a great night for him, no doubt. In second place, Matthew Cox. Second place running order, I should say, Matthew Cox. So he gets through that wreck just fine. Looks like maybe he had some damage. That might have been Mike Payton. It was either the 04 or the 08. I'm thinking it was Mike Payton because he is all the way in the back. So Matthew Cox got through that unscathed, I would say. Next we go back to... It's looking like the 00. That's going to be Kurt Rittenberg. Currently he's running 8th. Then Mike Perry in 9th in the number 10. The next chase truck after that would be Doug McCullum. We saw him unscathed. As well as Jeremy Rittenberg. They're 12th and 13th respectively. And after that it goes to David Dolliver. We'll have to see if he got some damage. I think he did in that number 23, I believe Toyota. He might be running the Chevy. I think that might be all of our chasers.
Yeah, if that was all the chasers, then it looks like the 23 might have gotten a little bit into it. It looks like his left front's pushed up just a little bit, and that's not going to bode well for him. He needs to have good aerodynamics in order to get around this track. Maybe if he kind of slides to the back a little bit, he can avoid possibly another wreck and, you know, get his repairs fixed again going into the pits. But just a tough break for the 23.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, we're taking a look at David Dolliver's truck right now, and there is definitely significant damage to the front end. I'm not sure what exactly that's going to do to him, other than obviously inhibit his aero ability. What I'm more wondering about is his ability to just keep speed, because if he can keep speed and keep in the draft wake of this field, he can still do okay. He can still limit the impact of this race on his points. So it's not totally unreasonable for him to stay in this battle, even if this is his one defining moment, because obviously we still got a bunch of chasers up front of him, and they can obviously wreck. He can obviously wreck. Nothing is over. But as far as the short term, I think if he can keep the draft wake, and that's going to be on the motor. It depends on if the motor can keep up or not. But if he can keep the draft wake of these guys, I think he'll do okay. Because, I spotted for Ryan W. Daniels a couple of races. One of these races, especially actually, in C Fixed. And as long as you keep that front end out of clean air, you're okay.
Yeah, what I'm thinking is if he can get someone in front of him and someone behind him, possibly get drafting help and pushing, I think he'll be in good shape. But he's got to have that committed driver behind him. If they decide to hang him out, or if they decide to just leave him, he might be in trouble. But I think if his motor, like you said, can keep up with everyone, even if he does fall out of the draft, if it could keep up minimum speed, I think he'll be all right. And he shouldn't take that much of a hit in the points, but if he's going to want to continue to stay up and running, he's going to have someone in front of him and behind him.
For sure, Zach. Well, tell you what, since we normally do it for restarts, I'll go ahead and let you pick the driver this time that we're going to go on board with, and we'll take the onboard look here on this restart, see what they see from their onboard camera atop their roof, and hopefully it gives everyone at home a nice visual of what these guys are looking at on these restarts.
Well, if you're giving me the reins, I guess we should hop on top of Joe Hudson in the 12 truck. Give everyone a perspective of seeing what he pretty much sees out the front end of his truck, how the lines move, and what moves he's going to have to make in order to either stay in that position, gain more positions, or put himself into another position to get positions.
There's definitely a lot of positions in that sentence, but that's actually a really good pick to go with Joe Hudson there, because he was last week's winner at Charlotte Motor Speedway, and he gave us a nice little segment towards the end of that broadcast last week about how he got that actual NASCAR Camping World Truck Series start at Canadian Tire Motorsport Park over the summer. Definitely really cool to talk to him about that. He was in the number 74 for Mark Harmon Racing, or Motorsports, not really sure there, but it was a cool opportunity. Even if the truck wasn't what he wanted, he's getting up there now, and it was definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for him, and he was definitely excited to talk about it. So that was really cool to talk to him about that after his win. We're going to go on board with him now, like Zach said, for this restart.
Here we go. Pace car takes a hard left into the pit lane. Like I said, it takes a little while to go green flag racing here. I believe the drivers have to go on green, if I'm not mistaken. They have to wait until the green flag drops so they can go. The 12 holding back just a little bit, probably trying to get a run off this green flag. Let's see what happens here. Oh, the 88 jumps forward, green flag's out. The 12 doesn't really get the start he wanted. The top four take off. 12's even with the 78. The front four take off, like I said, the 88 with the 04 on top.
And while we're on board here with Joe Hudson, we've also got a nice little track map down there for the viewers to see at the bottom left of the screen that kind of gives you an idea of how quickly these guys actually go around the track, and how, if you were to watch from an aerial view, just how quickly these guys would go. Like I said, it's a 2.66 mile facility. And these guys just zip around here like crazy. Joe Hudson here getting a run on the leaders. Now he fell back on that restart, and now he's coming right back.
Yeah, like I said, I think just a little bit of the excitement died down a little bit, and I think now he's being able to, or he feels confident and is driving enough to get up there. Is it looking three wide? The 68 thought better of it, got back behind the 04, but man, they were looking three wide there for just a little bit.
Yeah, but these guys, I think, are going to single file out for a little while here. I think they're just going to take it easy now that we've seen what can happen on one of these big wrecks, and they're probably just going to settle in, I'd hope, at least for their sake, so that they don't get caught up in another one up front. We've got a much smaller group this time. Looks like maybe about 10 trucks out front. Aiden Young towards the back of it. Looks like maybe Jimmy McKee is truly the last car in line there. So definitely only about 9-10 trucks here in this front group. And, that's what that big one does, and we're not even to lap 10.
Yeah, it takes out a lot of good drivers, and it takes out a lot of possibly race-winning trucks. Like I said, these guys just need to settle in. They need to get their rhythm down and not really force anything right now. Like you said, we got about 50 laps to go still, so that's a lot of laps here at Talladega. So we're just going to have to see what they do. I think they are going to settle out after that big one. They had to get those jitters out. But I think as soon as they do straighten out, we're going to see a lot of straight racing. Aiden Young looking to the high side, trying to make something going up there.
Yeah, like I said, some of the TM Designs guys, Pit Stop Insider guys, like Aiden Young, like Blake O'Connell, they are both in the top 10 right now. They were doing a lot of practicing running that top line, so, hopefully that gives an insight as to what a lot of these guys did in practice, but currently we've actually got a bottom line formed. It's just a bunch of drivers running single file, so that's Aiden Young who pokes out now, just running the bottom in a nice conformed line, so we might just spit around here, although it looks like maybe Blake O'Connell and Matthew Mills, might look to go high if Aiden Young can get up there.
Just giving a little bit on the report of the drivers who've taken it behind the wall. Scott Brotherton, Josh Cheney, and Louis Robinette have taken it behind the wall. Looks like their nights are done. It's a shame for them. Talladega's claimed another, but I mean, like I said, it's Talladega.
Yeah, and that's really unfortunate to see because Josh Cheney was making his comeback this week here in the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series, and I mean, it's really unfortunate that we don't get to talk about him at all aside from when he parked it from a lap 3 wreck. So that's certainly unfortunate. Hopefully we can get to talk about him next week at Kansas. But for now, Blake O'Connell and Matt Mills leading the charge up top, trying to get the lead away from Scott Simley.
And right now, the high line's pretty much the best stacked right now. If they can stay stacked like this, they could possibly go right to the front. I mean, the bottom line only has 2 guys down there, and if they can't get really formed up, the top line's just going to sail by them, and they could possibly jump down in front of those 2 of the 68 and the 88.
Yeah, I was really telling these guys in the practice session, telling everyone that you have to work the side draft, and if you don't know what the side draft is, we'll go on board with the number 78 here for a moment. In just 1 second. There we go. So we'll go on board with the 78, and I'm going to try and talk about something here. It's going to be a little hard now because they've kind of separated, but basically what you do when you're side drafting is you're going to go down, you're going to move down on the driver to the inside of you. We'll see if we can get another example here, actually. I'm not sure we're going to be able to find one, but basically what you do when you side draft a car is you will move down onto their right side or move up onto the left side when you're side by side. And you're going to position the nose of your car, or truck in this case, so that it will push the air off of your front onto their spoiler. That's going to increase drag on their car and slow them down because it's adding...
Oh, speed
and we got a
coming
wreck.
out of 2, the 88, the 67 around, the 78 goes around as well.
And we're still wrecking. That's a chaser. That's Doug McCollum just went around.
I don't think he's going to have any damage, though, but he did go around it. Oh, man, that's a shame.
Yeah, that was another big one. We saw at least one truck, being the 67, head on in the fence. And I don't think Blake O'Connell's going to be able to bounce back from that one. He might be able to keep running, but not very quickly. He already had a lot of rear end damage, and now it's just adding insult to injury. We're going to go all the way back to turns 1 and 2, I'd say. Actually, in the trioval, we're going to see if we can't figure out what happened. We're going to go on board with Matt Mills, once again, and see if we can't get a look at that.
It looks like the 67 bumped the 88 just a little bit, got him loose, sent the 88 down, and the 67 was trying to side draft and just got his quarter panel barely, and that's what started the whole wreck. It's a shame, but I mean, like I said, he was trying to use that side draft possibly to slow the 88 truck down to get the high line moving again, and he just got into the 88's quarter panel.
Well, I'd imagine what happened there was probably that Blake O'Connell was going to try and fall in line behind Chris Jennings. I think those four were working really well together on the top side. Chris Jennings, Blake O'Connell, Matthew Miller, and Aiden Young in the 999. They were all working really well together up top. They made the pass for the lead. I think they were trying to get as many as they can down to the bottom, but Matt Miller wasn't quite clear, and I think they were just trying to follow Chris Jennings, and we see what happened there, and then Aiden Young ended up hooking Matt Miller. I can't get his name right all of a sudden, but just a chain reaction, really, of guys not quite being clear and the moves being made, even though they couldn't really do that just yet.
And honestly, this just kind of benefited the 68. He actually fell back to 4th before that wreck even happened, but because he was shuffled out, he was able to avoid the wreck. He was able to avoid a lot of spins, actually, a lot of contact that was happening in front of him, and he could possibly, that could have been the race-winning move. He could have kept his truck clean, and now he could still go for a win, still go for a W.
Yeah, I think he's probably in the best spot, considering he kept that lead and he was doing good up there. He was just keeping himself out of trouble. And now he's going to be in a spot to defend that with a clean truck still. Actually, it looks like he came down the pits as Aiden Young will assume... Sorry, our scoring's a bit off. Aiden Young was scored first there for a moment, and the 68 was nowhere to be found, so... Sorry about that, but yeah, the 68 still on top. Like you mentioned, Mike A. Perry is second, Randy Roberts third, Joe Hudson fourth, and Matthew Cox fifth. So, how the tides have turned already in this 60-lap race here at Talladega Superspeedway.
All right, so with this new wreck that just happened, who would be the highest running chaser right now, Andrew? And take us through what kind of impact it would be through the chase points as of right now.
Well, I'll be kind enough to throw up that graphic once more. Probably throw it up a few more times tonight, actually. But we'll go ahead and take another look at the chase grid coming into tonight. And currently, that's going to be Mike Perry that is your highest chase driver in the number 10. He's actually running second, so if he was to get around Scott Sinley with the help of Joe Hudson's restarting behind him, that would currently, we're still 45 laps early, but that would currently put him into the next round, regardless of what happens in the next 3 races. But Mike Perry and it looks like Matthew Cox are your top 2 chase drivers, but Doug McCullum is running 6th right behind Matthew Cox. We just had an engine blow up.
Do you have an eye on who it is?
I am looking. It was the 5 car, I think.
The 5's in the pits. I thought it might have been Aiden Young.
That was the 5 car. He pulled off as soon as it happened. He ended up towing the rest of the way to the pits. So that was the 5 car that just blew up right there. Definitely not what anyone wanted to see for Jimmy McKee, but turning our focus back to the leaders for the restart, we've got, like we said, the 68 out front, followed by the 10 and the 09. And here's going to be your full rundown of chase drivers one more time as we pull up the chase grid once again. Currently, Mike Perry is sitting pretty in second place in the running order. Then we go to Matthew Cox in 5th, Chris Jennings in 8th, Doug McCullum in the pits right now, along with David Dolliver, who has some damage. The Rittenberg brothers, who are also in the pits, likely repairing damage, just the same as everyone else. Sorry, and I'll tell you who I'm not seeing on the running order. I've got the top 20 pulled up, but the guy I'm not seeing that really, sorry, what's the word? Pokes out to me, I guess, or sticks out to me. There we can English, guys.
Yeah, you got this.
The guy who sticks out to me that we don't see on here in this top 20 is going to be Jeremy Bazemore.
Yeah, it's just unfortunate for him. Talladega doesn't care who you are; it'll just take you prisoner. It doesn't care. It just doesn't care.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Zach, everyone talks about the Lady in Black and the Monster Mile in Dover, in Darlington and Dover, respectively, being the tracks that really just reach out and get you, but I think this is even worse. You can control what your car does at both Darlington and Dover. You can control whether or not you're going to hit the wall. You can control whether or not you're going to get into someone else. You can control whether or not you're going to miss a wreck. Here, it's a little bit different. You're going so fast, there's so little reaction time that you have almost no control over those kinds of things because it's just that much quicker. It just happens that much quicker, and it's that much harder to miss something like we've already seen. It's also, we mentioned the iRacing, or the I part of iRacing earlier, the internet part. That messes with the connections of these drivers. We're from all over the country of the great USA, sometimes all over the world. So not all of these connections are going to be strong and safe and sound. Some of them will have bits of issues, mid-race, and so that plays into it when you're going so fast at a place like Talladega. You're going nearly 200 miles an hour, just inches away from another driver, and your two connections might be unstable as all get out, and neither one of you may move, but iRacing registers your trucks as moving just because the connection is that sketchy, I guess, if you will, and you end up wrecking.
Yeah, and that's why I got to respect these guys. I mean, they deal with that. They deal with the connection issues. They deal with other drivers making moves. They deal with their trucks maybe not handling they want or going as fast as they want. But here they are running inches apart from each other to make sure that they get a good finish. I mean, like you said, their connections could not be the best, and they could possibly get into each other without even purposely doing anything. But that's the nerve you got to have in order to come out here and race this close to each other. And the respect just flows through this league. You can see it as close as they run to each other and as hard as they run to each other. They respect each other. They can stay around each other. They know that they won't wreck. Even though we've seen a few bad wrecks and everything, it's just, some of the connections might have been bit. Maybe the 67 didn't see the 88 down far enough, or it could have been a multiple of things, but like you said, it could be the connection. But I mean, to run this close to each other with that in the back of their minds is just amazing.
Yeah, and I tell you what, it's definitely it takes a toll on your mind, really, just as much as normal racing does. Maybe not the exhaustion side of things, but definitely just mentally. There's so much pressure and so much stress involved that it really is sometimes hard to focus, and just one little mistake ends up taking the whole field out. But on this restart here, we're going to have, it looks like, just over 43 laps to go out of 60. We haven't even completed 20 just yet. And I really think this is the name of the game tonight is really just going to be missing the wrecks. We're already seeing kind of the precedent has been set as far as how this race is going to go. It'll clean up as we go, but we got to get these jitters out, and that's currently what's happening as we come to the restart. Scott Simley is going to be first, Mike Perry second. I'll give you the call, Zach.
As the pace car takes a hard left onto pit road, like I said multiple times, it takes a little while to get to the green flag here, but when it does, that's when the intensity ramps up, and we got one taken off. The 68 takes off instantly. The third place car comes right with them. I believe that's the 12, and we are green.
Yeah, and as far as spreading the field out, keeping out of wrecks, this is going to help. You see, the field is already pretty much one line, but this is only going to help for a couple of laps. These guys using the draft are automatically just going to catch right back up to each other, form a pack, at least in the front. We're going to see about 10 cars, once again, up in the front that get packed up and start racing just like they already have been. So this doesn't really do a whole lot as far as keeping the race green here, but at least for a few laps, it'll keep these guys out of harm's way a little bit quicker, or a little bit easier.
I agree, as we see the 04 try to go for the high side, possibly take advantage of the 68 being a little slow because he didn't have any draft help, but now that he does, the 04 is falling back. If I was the 04 right now, I'd just get in line, start riding, see what the truck can do in the draft, and possibly find out what moves he can make coming down towards the end of the race, as everyone is single file besides the 04 for fourth right now.
Yeah, and we're going to go in the cockpit of the number 04 real quick. We're going to see what goes on inside of the truck, see how far these trucks bank over onto the right side in the 36-degree banking here at Talladega. And, I mean, we've got the gyro in cockpit camera, and it's really just a sight to see how far the gyro camera spins as they go through turns 1 and 2, then turns 3 and 4. It's almost 45 degrees. It's kind of what it looks like, but not quite. We've got Jeff Gilmore right on his back end, actually. And they are on the bottom line. They're up ahead of the 40, behind the 88. We've got Kurt Rimberg to their outside, and the top line is back. That's Mike Perry leading the charge. He's going to have the lead of the line, it looks like.
If he leads that lap, that's 1 point for him going into the next round. If he makes it, that's 1 point for him. Now he's pretty much on top of everybody else in the in their chase right now. As it looks like they were about to split him 3 wide. They didn't. They thought better of it. But right now, that high line is hooked up, and they are coming to the front.
Yeah, and I think what we're going to see as this race goes on is these guys will elect for the top line over the bottom. That's going to be, you know, we're seeing it already. It's more dominant up there. You can get the runs going. You can easily get to the lead. I think once we get green here for a number of laps...
And they split him 3 wide for first. I'm sorry to interrupt, Andrew, but they left the 10 out to dry. The 33, excuse me, is on the high line now with Aiden Young in push. He might go to the lead and lead this lap.
Definitely going to be interesting to see if Doug McCullum takes this, and he will by a mile almost over Scott Simley, who's dropped all the way back to 4th. Now Aiden Young ditches Doug McCullum to try and get the lead here. Aiden Young making moves early, just trying to get his name out there, and it's definitely working in that Safe Light Auto Chevrolet. He's going to go toe-to-toe with Doug McCullum on the outside.
Yeah, but like you said, that high line, is going to prevail. I mean, they just got a huge run, the 88 and the 33, a huge run out of the corner. They weren't even hooked up. It was about half a truck length, but they got a huge run out of that corner. Now Aiden Young in the 60 and the 999 and the 68 truck. I apologize, Scott Smith, Smiley. I apologize if I got that name wrong. They got a huge run going into the corner, gives Aiden Young the lead coming out.
Yeah, Scott Simley there sticking to the back of Aiden Young, keeping him going. Aiden Young going to get this lap led. That's a bonus point. Not that it's going to really help or hurt him. He's nowhere near being close to the chase train. Like he missed it. He wasn't even here for the start of it. So he's just out here to play a spoiler, and currently he's doing a real good job of it in that Safe Light Auto Pit Stop Insider Chevrolet. He's currently your leader.
Well, for drivers that are in the chase that got taken out and possibly the first 2 wrecks, they want to see him win. They want to see that spoiler take the checkered flag. But for everyone else that's driving right now that's in the chase, they don't want to see that. They want to see maybe one of them possibly win or even themselves win, but they don't want to see a spoiler win there.
For sure. I mean, right now, Chris Jennings, Doug McCullum, they're going to be battling to try and get up there, get those top 2 spots. You see now Mike Perry and Kurt Rittenberg staying in the picture here. There's certainly still threats to win this race. Really, anyone with any kind of minimal damage to no damage is going to be a threat to win this race. I think once you start knocking speed off your motor, that's when you're going to be pretty much out of the battle. But not out of the battle as far as getting a top 10, possibly on a late race restart. But this is a nice run we've got mounting here. Doug McCullum running on the top side, trying to get the help from Chris Jennings, Kurt Rittenberg, and it looks like in the number 40, that's going to be Kevin Nass from New Jersey on the outside. There are your top 4 cars there. The top 4 cars in the bottom line are going to be the 999 of Aiden Young, 68 of Scott Simley, the 12 of Joe Hudson, and the number 10 of Mike Perry, Jeff Gilmore, following in behind them from Canada in 9th.
Now, one of my questions was, like, earlier I was going to ask it, but they kind of, and cautions out.
We'll quickly look for this. I'm not sure where that one was. It looks like maybe the back of the field, but it doesn't do us a whole lot. It's like maybe the 67. And it was the 67. He was running in the back here with the 55 and the 19. Cody Spiker in the 19, the 55 being piloted this week by, I'm not sure, but Dale Island Jr. What happened there, it looks like, is maybe Blake O'Connell ended up hooking his teammate there, Cody Spiker. Obviously unintentional, just like everything else that's happened tonight, but that's 3 for 3 now that Blake O'Connell has been involved in.
It's just unfortunate for him. Talladega's just been biting him left and right, man. I hope that, Talladega gives him a little bit of luck here, but man, it's just bad luck all around for the 67 tonight.
Yeah, I mean, these guys were running totally on their own in the back. They have damage. They were in the back of the field, and you see right here, yeah, just gotten into the right side of the bumper there of the 19, sends the 19 into the wall head on. Certainly not intentional. Those guys are teammates, but obviously a really unfortunate ending to Cody Spiker's night, possibly Blake O'Connell's as well. But for now, we're going to see if we can't drag aside the number 999. That's going to be Aiden Young.
User was moved to your channel.
Aiden Young, this is Andrew in the booth. You got a copy?
I got you, buddy.
All right, well, certainly nice to get to catch up with you after your last week helping me out there at Charlotte Motor Speedway. You've been running up in the front. You've definitely challenged to play spoiler in this race so far. What can you tell us about the dynamic of this event? We know it's pretty much wide open around this place, but as far as the dynamic with the drivers and whatnot, what can you tell us about that?
It's just the trucks really suck up good. You can get a lot of draft and catch up to people real quick. Just like, if you get one or two cars up on that outside and you're fast, you can make it roll.
Well, for sure. I mean, that's definitely what we've been seeing so far. Definitely consistent with that. We're coming to about midway. First off, do you think you can make it to the end? And secondly, do you think we're going to have more cautions?
It's going to be really close on fuel, but if we get another caution or two, we'll certainly make it on fuel.
All right, well, we'll let you get back to your day job here of driving that number 999 Safe Light Auto Glass Repair, and Pit Stop Insider Chevrolet Silverado. We'll move you on back up. Thanks for your time, bud.
Yep.
Now we'll see if we can catch up with one more driver, and Zach, I'll let you take the reins on this one. We're going to go ahead and see if we can't pull aside Chris Jennings.
Hey, Chris, it's Zach up here in the PSI booth. You got a copy on us, bud?
Yeah, hey Zach, how you doing, bud?
I'm not doing too bad. I kind of want to know how you're doing. I mean, you've had a fast truck all night, even with some damage. You got into a little bit of contact there with Blake O'Connell. I was kind of worried to see what happened to your truck, but it looks like it's doing just fine. Take us through the race so far. Which line do you feel like is going to be the best for you and best for a possibly race-winning move? And just take us through your race so far.
Yeah, man, I was hoping to get through this race without some damage there for a little while at least, but damage didn't seem to hurt it too bad, so still got some speed, and I don't know, have to see how it plays out. Usually the fast lane could be the top side if you got enough cars, so.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's shown time and time again that you guys don't even need to be hooked up on the high line, and you just power by the low line. So, we're looking forward to you racing out here. We were talking about some of the chase standings going on right now, and we were talking about how you may be one of the favorites going into the championship. Do you have that in the back of your mind right now as, you're racing through this? I know you most likely do, but what was your mindset coming in? Did you want to dominate? Did you want to stay up front? Or did you want to try to go to the back possibly, save your truck? What was your mindset coming in, knowing that you were in one of the best positions for the chase coming into Talladega?
Yeah, I like to stay up front. I feel like I can stay out of trouble the best up there if I can lead it. But definitely chase is in the back of my mind. I'd like to get a win here just to advance the next round and get it out of the way. But if I can't do that, I just want to survive.
Yeah, buddy, I hear you. That's all you really got to do at Talladega, survive. Well, we hope the best for you up here in the PSI booth. Best of luck to you. We hope we don't get into any more cautions or into any more trouble, and we hope to talk to you at the end of the race, bud.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, well, Zach, thanks for taking the bullet there with that one. It looks like maybe you were kind of thrown under the bus. That was not intentional, but real quick, we're going to take just a quick commercial break. Let us catch our breaths here as we get ready for the restart. We'll be right back in about a minute and a half.
In this cauldron of fiery wills and burning competition, rivalries heat up quicker. This is an oval of stolen victories and crushed dreams, filled with volumes of unfinished business. Sooner or later, you all become rivals. With everyone fighting over one finish line, there's never enough glory to go around.
And welcome back. That was just a quick commercial break provided to you by Little Man 0215 Gaming. He was the producer of those two commercials, and he's in the booth with us tonight. So, Zach, you want to maybe tell us a little bit about your channel there, bud?
Yeah, Little Man 0215 Gaming. I honestly enjoy gaming. I honestly enjoy making videos. If you enjoy gaming videos, I usually upload funny moments and everything. But if you would like to have your league put out there, possibly a commercial made, go ahead and contact me. My contact info is in my description for my channel, I believe. So if you want to try to get maybe your own paint scheme out there, or possibly even a commercial, let me know and we can try to work something out. But yeah, it's really fun to do. Like I said, I enjoy making the videos, but I hope you guys possibly give it a try after the race, and maybe you like it, maybe you don't. But if you do like it, give me a like and subscribe and all that stuff, and I'll see you in the next video.
Well, certainly, definitely go check his channel out once more. That's Little Man 0215 Gaming, LILMAN 0215 Gaming. Thanks for that little spiel there, Zach. I think we're going to try and pull one more driver aside since we have one more lap until we go green.
All right, you go ahead and take this one.
Oh, believe me, I was. We're going to go ahead and pull Kurt Rittenberg aside. He was up front just a little bit ago under caution. Going to see what his plan is. We see a bunch of drivers coming in, maybe to top off on fuel, try and get to the end of this race. I think it's one lap too short, but we'll go ahead and pull Kurt Rittenberg aside. Kurt Rittenberg, this is Andrew up in the booth. You got a copy? See if we can't dial him up one more time. Kurt Rittenberg, this is Andrew up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, well, nice to talk to you during the race here. You've definitely been putting on a show. Not quite in the front right now. I mean, you're certainly in the fray, so just tell us about your plan moving forward for the second half of this race.
Oh, the biggest part, if there's any more cautions, you gotta keep her clean. But hopefully we can keep up with our teammates. And we got a little bit of damage on the 26 and myself. So other than that, we're just gonna try to keep it in the pack and keep together, and hopefully put it in the front.
All right, well, real quick, anyone you want to give a shout out to before we let you get back to the restart here?
Oh, definitely Ed, if he's watching, man. I know he's having some trouble again, and hopefully he's watching, having a good time. We're hopefully putting on a show for him. But everybody that comes out racing and watching, that's pretty much it right now.
For sure. Well, like I said, I'll let you get back to your day job here. You're coming to the restart here in just a moment, so we'll let you focus again for the back half of this race. Best of luck to you. Hope to talk to you later on.
Yeah, hopefully I talk to you in Victory Lane here shortly.
Definitely. Well, I'll move you back up. And what's more, that was Kurt Rittenberg from the 00. That's running with R2D2 Motorsports. We're gonna go on board with him as we give Zach Lindgren the call on the restart. Going to go on board, like I said, with the 00 of Kurt Rittenberg.
As we get ready for the pace car to drop off onto the left, take a left turn down pit road. Man, you're rubbing off on me, Andrew. Here we go, and the 88 takes off instantly as soon as the pace car dives down. The 88 to the front.
And you know what? We'll have to watch and see if maybe that ends up being a penalty or something on the 57, or who was it? 33, sorry, that moved down. I have to imagine it isn't, considering those guys being veterans up there, the 88 and 33. They would know what they're doing in this league more than anyone else, aside from maybe the Rittenbergs who help run the show here. But, you know, I don't think it's going to be a penalty on McCollum, but we'll have to watch out for that, see if he peels down to the pits, because He did change his lane before the start, but again, I'm not clear on the rule there. So we're just going to bring it up. I don't think anything is going to happen, but in case he ends up suddenly pulling off alone, that could be what the deal is there. So just a heads up on that. We're going to go back up from the 00 and focus on the leaders. We've got a 4-car train up front once more.
Yeah, like you said, well, I think it was a smart decision to try to go down there. If they don't penalize him and he doesn't get penalized for it, it was a smart decision. He's keeping that decision, or he's keeping that position. He was keeping second, making sure that no one else is going to take it from him, and possibly put himself into a good position to get a good finish if this were to go green from here like this.
Yeah, by all means, it's certainly a great move by them to orchestrate that start. They've got Kevin Mass now behind them in third place, and David Dolliber behind Kevin Mass in the number 23. So chase drivers are taking 3 of your top 4 spots, and we've also got the 2 Rittenberg brothers and Mike Perry in the top 10. They are all chase drivers, but as we reach halfway here, lap 31 of 60, as we come back around, gonna give a quick shout out to Ed Burrell. He's been going through a bit of a surgery issue. Well, I shouldn't say issue. He went through surgery just recently. Definitely really cool guy, one of the original guys, I believe, from All-Star Sim Racing. Just want to give a shout out and a get well soon to Ed Burrell. He was with us at Charlotte last week, but unfortunately could not make it tonight. So again, just wanted to give a quick shout out to him.
Yeah, hoping for a speedy recovery for him. Prayers out to him and his family, hoping that everything goes well and that everything stays well.
For sure, and as we're watching now from the blimp cam, we're watching these guys power around turns 3 and 4. You see the ticker shows halfway up there. Once more, that's half of this race done. We've already seen 3-4 cautions, so it's going to be a grueling back half of the race for these guys. We're still on the blimp cam. This is how wide this place is, but also how much room these guys occupy as they're going around here. You see they're only 2 wide, but they're taking up almost the entire track, it seems like. So the place is wide for sure, but there's not a whole lot of anywhere to go.
Yeah, honestly, it is a very wide track. It is a extremely wide track, but as soon as you fill up with trucks or cars on it, it instantly becomes narrow. That one lane that's down at the bottom is now occupied. Now you got to go a lane higher. Well, now that one's occupied, so you got to go a lane higher, and it instantly fills up. And it could fill up even quicker if you wanted it to. It could be even fuller if you wanted to, but it fills up quick, even though it is a wide racetrack. A lot of drivers can race 3 wide around here if they really, really wanted to, but that space fills up quick if you want to occupy it.
For sure. Well, we're currently seeing a battle for the lead, just like we've seen all day long. This time it's Chris Jennings and Doug McCullum. They worked together to orchestrate that previous restart. Kevin Mass pushing the 88 of Chris Jennings there. Sorry, we got David Dolliver behind the 33 of Doug McCullum, pushing him around this place. Jeremy Rittenberg following him. So a lot of chase drivers now filtering out to the front. As they say, I guess the cream rises to the top. And we're certainly seeing the best of the best here in the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series get up to the front, even with a few battle scars, and really show why they are in the chase.
I want to highlight one driver right now, the 23 of David Dolliver. We were talking about him earlier in the race. He got some damage. He still has damage on that front end, but look at him. He's second on the high side right now, pushing the 33 to the lead. It doesn't look like that 23, or possibly even down on horsepower, but it doesn't look like he should even have a scratch at all. He's pushing the 33 up to the front. He may be down on a little bit, but he's got help behind him, like we were talking about earlier. So we were saying, maybe he should drop back and everything like that, but after everything that's gone on, he's put his truck back up in front and possibly into a winning position.
Yeah, I tell you what, as soon as he keeps that, or as long as he keeps that front end out of the air, rather, he'll be able to keep pace with these guys. Just like I was saying, as long as that motor's fine, he'll be able to keep pace with these guys, no problem. He just got to be wary of the fact that the front end of his truck is messed up, as we see a bit of a blink there out of the number 40 of Kevin Mass. He's certainly put himself in a great position here to maybe sneak away with the win, along with the rest of the top 8, really. We got an 8-car breakaway, 4 on top, 4 on bottom. We're seeing that top line prevail here.
And that high line is nothing but chase drivers, if I'm not wrong. The 33, 23, 26, and double O are nothing but chase drivers. And so they're going to try to work with each other, get up to the front. Even though these guys are enemies right now going for the championship, they got to work together in order to get themselves into possibly a winning position. But they got to work with each other right now, teammates or not.
Yeah, well, I tell you what, I know for a fact, because of the channel they're in, the 23, the 26, and the double O are working together right now. The 26 and the double O being brothers, they are already teammates, but they've accepted the 23 in there. I think he actually might be part of the team already, so I actually think the 33 might be part of that team as well, in which case it's great work by them to get their entire team on that top side all at once as the laps wind down here at Talladega Superspeedway.
And I like what they're doing too. They're not really on each other's bumper. They're giving each other a little bit of room, giving themselves the run to stay up with the bottom line out of the corner, but they're not really pushing at each other. They're just kind of being patient, as they should, for the end of the race so they can be close up on each other and get themselves a W here.
For sure. Well, we're going to take a moment for station identification. We're just going to take a quick moment of silence. Not for anything in particular, just to make sure you know that you're tuning into PSI TV. Once more, that's PSI TV or Pit Stop Insider TV. Like I said, we're going to take just a moment for station identification. We'll be right back. All right, and we're back. We saw that lap car of Cody Spiker kind of come into play there, but I don't think he really messed too much up. We still got 8 cars up front. The lines have changed, obviously, as you can see. There's only 2 on the top side now, 6 on the bottom and 1 line, but hey, there they go. David Dolliver, Doug McCullum right back up to the top side. I think what the 68 and the 12 need to do is they need to get up to the back end of the 40 if they're going to try to play any kind of spoiler in the agenda of the 33, 23, 26, and double O up top.
Yeah, and I think the 40's doing a really good job right now. He's keeping the 88 out in front. He's keeping his truck clean, and he's pushing the 88, keeping speed, making sure that the high line doesn't get away from him. The 40's doing a fantastic job right now, hitting him safely on the straightaway, not hitting him in the corner, or bumping him in the corner, excuse me. You don't want to bump anyone in the corner. That just unsettles the truck and possibly can cause a wreck, but the 40's staying right with him and keeping that low line in contention.
For sure. Well, we're going to take a moment to look back through the field, actually. We've got a big old line behind these guys. Randy Roberts leading the charge back there. Jeff Gilmore following suit. Aiden Young behind him in the number 999. Then we've got Richard Fletcher in the 43. We haven't talked about him at all yet today, but nice to focus on him for a moment in the Zippo Toyota Tundra. Mike Perry, one of the chase drivers, currently running in 13th behind Richard Fletcher. We've got Matthew Miller coming up caboose on this little pack right here in the number 78. After that, the only 3 trucks left running out of the 20-some car we had, 20-some car field rather that we had earlier, that are not in one of these front 2 packs. It's going to be Cody Spiker, who actually just dipped down into the pits right there in the green Las Vegas Strong Chevrolet Silverado. Matthew Cox in the number 04, who we saw. Actually, I'm not sure what got him out of sequence. Maybe he pitted to make sure he can go to the end of the race, but definitely not a great call when you're going to lose a draft like this. Mike Kelly is the other of the 3 that are not in one of those front packs that is still running. The number 2 actually doesn't look too bad, but obviously he has to get back into the pack and, get laps back if he wants to do anything. It's going to be hard as laps wind down here. But back to the front, we've got once again, a double wide battle here for the lead. Doug McCullum still at it. up top of Chris Jennings, and it looks like that 68 and 12 are just kind of straggling along, not wanting to really do a whole lot just yet, waiting for the laps to wind down for them to make their move.
When was our last caution? I'm sorry to bring this up, but if our last caution was before lap 30, then the 68 and 12 could possibly be going 3/4 throttle to possibly save fuel and go to the end here if this goes green. We have gone green for about, I believe, the last 10 laps. If we can keep going for another 20, the 68 and 12 might be set for the rest of the race.
Well, the last time these guys pitted was about 14 laps ago. Now, that was for the guys who are in the second of these two packs who came in at the back end of that caution. They're going to have the most fuel out of anyone. They came in, all they did was top off. However, the guys that came in on a couple laps before them at the start of that caution are going to, I mean, really, no matter who you are right now, you're in the same boat. You don't have the gas to go to the end. Not even Matthew Cox. Actually, Matthew Cox would have the gas to go to the end, but he's 2 laps behind. So, I mean, I don't see anyone being able to make it aside from him. And like we said, he's 2 laps down. Matthew Cox out of New Jersey, unfortunately, not going to be able to affect this if this goes green, which it looks like it may, actually. These guys are running really great right now, even though they're side by side, giving a lot of room, a lot of respect, not even side drafting really yet. Just kind of riding it there on the top side, using the runs out of the corners to do the work right now. So definitely a lot of awesome racing up front. Really cool to see. But once more, to answer your question there, Zach, these guys pitted now almost 20 laps ago. So they've still got to go 17 more laps.
And the the fuel tank can only hold about, what, 30 laps? 31 laps, give or take?
Yeah, depending on how you work the draft, how fast you let yourself go, you get about 30-31 laps. So these guys certainly in no position to make it to the end, although what I do want to bring to your attention is these guys from behind starting to catch up.
Yeah, I was about to say that. It looks like these guys are finally starting to make some headway towards this front group, possibly even catch them and make it more of a race up here up front. I mean, it's already been a race. There's been 8 drivers up here side by side for pretty much every lap since the drop of the green flag, but now we're going to have more drivers up here hashing it out.
Yeah, if these guys keep working that bottom line and just staying in a line, working to get up there and pick up the draft at the back end of the lead pack, they'll be there probably in about 2-3 more laps, and they're going to start being able to play spoiler on their plans and really be able to change the whole dynamic of this race. We see the 09 get the draft from the guys ahead. They've caught him.
The only thing I'm scared about is when this front driver from the second pack catches the back end of this pack and has to slow down, it's going to create a chain reaction through the back if they stay close enough that it could possibly cause a wreck. One driver's checking up because the other one's checking up because of the speed that they got on that front pack, that we could possibly end up with a wreck here, someone rear-ending someone else. So that's the only thing I'm scared about. It's going to be interesting to see if these guys, the 40, the 33 into each other. Everyone keeps it straight. Man, everyone kept it straight. The 40 was a little sideways coming out of the tri-oval. Everyone kept it straight. We'll keep going. The 33 might have a little bit of front end damage as the 23 looks for the lead on the 88.3 wide.
Well, that was incredible right there, but the 68 is going to come out with the worst of that probably as far as damage goes. But now, like you said, big lead change, but the 23 is wounded up in the front along with the 26. The 88 has the best front end out of these guys up front. And we saw him, even with a little bit of damage, leading the pack. So it'll be interesting to see what goes on here. But we're going to go back a lap, see if we can't see what happened there with the number 40. That was honestly incredible that they managed to save that. Yeah, the 33 got into the back of the 40. And it was just a chain reaction from there, not with the guys that you were calling attention to, but with the guys that were already up there. They ended up having bit of a chain reaction problem themselves, so we're going to go on board, I think, one more time with these guys. I think that was number 12 that ended up with some damage as well.
And it's just terrible luck for those guys that just caught up, too. They were running that second pack. They were hooked up. They were coming to the front. Finally make it back to the front, and now because of this, there's a second pack again trying to trail that front pack. This time, a little bit of different drivers, but again, we've got a second pack trying to trail the first one.
And I tell you what we didn't originally notice is that 12 did end up with a motor expiration. That damage was too much for the number 12 Quaker State Chevrolet, and he's out of the race, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yeah, bad luck again. Bad luck, Talladega.
So as we move on here, we've got just under 15 to go now, and you see the field already back into 2 packs once again because they had to slow down for that, what really should have been a wreck, honestly. A bit of a technical problem here. We'll try and work through it. We should have the screen back up and going, but Zach, tell us what you're seeing.
Drivers go with him. No one went with him. He tried to challenge the 23, but the 23's teammates of the 2600 stayed with him. The 88's pretty much hung out to dry right now. The only other driver that the 88 could have to help him would be Aiden Young in the 999 or the 40 of Kevin Mass back here in 6th. But right now, the front 3 drivers are all teammates. They're working with each other. So right now, they're all in one single file line. The 88's trying to get something going, just can't. The 999 of Aiden Young jumps outside. The 88's coming with them along with the 40. The teammates are going to be stuck on the bottom. And these guys up top, no teammates. They're just rivals against each other, but they got to work with each other in order to get past these teammates. A little bit further back here, we just got one single line of, I believe, Randy W. Roberts, Jeff Gilmore, Mike Perry, Matthew Miller, Richard Fletcher, and Scott Simile. I apologize. I can't get that name. All right here in one line. They're trying to catch back up to that front pack, make it interesting, as Aiden Young takes the lead from the 23. The 23, like we said, had some damage in front, probably hindering the teammates a little bit. He dives down in front of the 23 as we catch some lap traffic. The 88 is now even with the 999 for the lead. The 40's giving the 88 a huge push, put the 88 back in P1.
Yeah, that was a great run that those guys just mounted right there. We saw Aiden Young, like you mentioned, drop down in front of the 23 for the lead. Now he's pulling back ahead of the 88 through turns 3 and 4, but what we're going to see here out of turn 4 is Chris Jennings is going to do the same thing he did out of turn 2 that lap. He's going to get a huge run off the top side and likely power back ahead of these guys on the bottom, especially with the help of Kevin Mass and Jeremy Rittenberg. And, well, you know, Kevin Mass even going to start clearing the 999 there with that run out of turn 4. But the 88 moves down. That's going to give the advantage, if anything, to Kevin Mass and the number 40.
And, you know, with these guys battling out, they are running close. We're almost in, 10 laps to go. The second pack, here they come. They're not side by side. They're not slowing each other down. They're one by one. They're trying to come up to get back up here as the 40 charges hard. I believe with the 26 and the 04, I believe the 04 is a lap car, being a wild card player here, pushes the 26 and the 40 to the lead.
Yeah, and what these guys want to see that are trying to catch up is exactly what they're seeing. They want to see this battling. If they're going to have any chance to catch up, they need this kind of battling from up front. And I think really it's just going to end up continuing to help them out because, I mean, you have to keep battling if you're up front right now. You cannot fall into a single file line because that, you know, starts working against you. That means you're going to have less chances to try and get to the lead and try and hold on to the lead to try and win this race. But we're seeing Matthew Cox now. He is not the leader. That's the number 04, Matthew Cox. He's not the leader. Currently, Kevin Mass is the leader. Matthew Cox is a few laps down, actually 2 laps down, trying to stay 2 laps down in the event of a caution. It's not going to help him right now to get back on the lead lap, but it might help him get ahead of any guys who get in a wreck and maybe lose a lap or two. So he's certainly still battling for points. He is in the chase. So, I mean, this is worth it for him to be battling right now. Maybe, you know, the leaders want to see him go to the back of their pack, but he's got a chase that he's got to battle for too. As now we see this battle continue on, and Chris Jennings, I think, will actually be able to use the 04 kind of like Dale Earnhardt Jr. used the tape back at Daytona in 2014. He used a tape that ended up on the front of his car from debris to help get that get more downforce on the front of his car and just take off. So, you know, maybe Chris Jennings is going to use the 04 kind of like tape in this situation and try and give him a run on the guys on the inside. But tell you what we're seeing in the back is some more racing.
The only thing that scares me up front is if the 88 gets tired of the 04 here, and as the second pack does catch Aiden Young, they didn't want to hold up for him. They caught him and passed him. But the only thing that scares me up front up here with the 88 is if he gets tired of the 04 being right there. The 88 can, and he has all he can if he wanted to, take it 3 wide for it. But does he really want to try that? I mean, he can push the 04 up into the front, possibly put himself into the lead. But if he gets tired of the 04 being right there in front, he can take it 3 wide. But would it be worth the risk to take it 3 wide, try to clear the 04, and then try to clear the 40 as well as he gets a huge run out of the corner? He could possibly clear him, and my whole theory went down the drain. Never mind. The 88 to the front in front of the 40. The 40 tries to go up, get the draft off the 04.
But what this is going to bring into play is the fact that these guys are going to find it hard as the laps wind down here to make any moves. Now we've got 4 trucks on the bottom, only 2 up top, only one of them being battling for the lead. Kurt Rittenberg kind of washing between lanes here, but what they're going to find difficult is trying to make passes. It's not going to be easy in their present situation because they don't have a lot of trucks to affect the draft and be able to use to their advantage. They can't really play in the air, like I like to say. So what they want, if anything, if they want to be able to make moves, is for that backpack to catch up to them. But I think that's going to be pretty tough because, only 6 trucks punching a hole in the air, that's not as big of an effect as 8. So it's going to be harder for the backpack to catch them. But we'll see if over the next 6 laps they do so. I wouldn't rule it out, but it's certainly going to be difficult. And if they do it, they're probably going to catch them on the last lap.
And if they do, there's going to be all take and no give. I mean, these guys are going to have so much momentum off the draft, off of these guys up front, that they're not going to slow down for anything. We could possibly see a big one here on the last lap. But if these 4 or 5, that are on the lead lap could stay like this, and these 6 up here can stay straight, I believe these guys have some of the best chances to win. And I think it's just going to come down to this top 5 up here on the lead lap. Those guys behind him might catch him, but they're going to have to charge as hard as they can. And also, we're forgetting about the fuel mileage game. Can these guys make it on fuel?
You know what? That's a good point. We're at the limit of these guys' supposed fuel range, fuel window. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys come down right now, or in a lap or so, because they've been running now, as we come around to complete this lap, for 32 laps. That's not what anyone guessed that these guys could do. We were guessing about 30, 31, so that's a good point, Zach, is the fuel might come into play. We see Matthew Cox and Kurt Rittenberg start to get filed out of the immediate battle. Sorry, that was David Dolliver and Kurt Rittenberg. There's nothing changed up front, really. But 5 to go. You see that there on the track map that we've pulled up. We see some cars in the pits, but they are damaged. That track map is really showing you the difference between the first pack and the second pack. And also, if these guys start to come down pit road, I would expect it this lap or the next.
Yeah, and as we were talking, those guys behind them go too wide. They're not going to catch these guys up front if they continue going too wide. Now, what do you do in this situation? In iRacing, if a caution comes out within the last 5 laps, the race is over. The race is done. Does the 88 or possibly anyone else up front stay out and try to catch that caution before you run out of fuel? Or do you come down to get fuel to try to beat the other drivers in fuel mileage and possibly put yourself in a better position for the win? What would be going through your mind at this point?
Well, what actually just started to go through my mind is these guys might have let that second pack catch them earlier by running less throttle and saving gas. That just came into my mind. That might have been why that second pack caught them, and now that second pack might not be able to because they might have to save gas now. So that might have been their one chance, but that doesn't really account for that many laps of saved gas. I don't know if they're going to make it, but right now, if I'm Chris Jennings, I'm going to be running 3/4 half throttle behind that number 04, running as little throttle as I can and as steady on the throttle as I can. Because when you open the throttle up more, changing how much throttle you're putting in uses more gas than just keeping a steady amount of, say, half throttle. So it's gonna be tough. These guys are really playing Greg Biffle here from back in like 2005, I think it was, when or 2003 when that Daytona race came down to fuel mileage. It's the same thing here. This is tense racing, really just as tense as if they were 3-4 wide, 10 rows deep.
Now let's replay the scenario for you. If correct me if I'm wrong, the 88 is in the chase. The 88 right now can punch his ticket into the final round, I believe. The 40's not, and the 88's ducking off slow. He might be out of fuel.
I would guess that he's out of gas. There's no other reason to be slowing down. And to answer your the thing you brought up there, 4 out of the top 5 were in the chase. Chris Jennings, obviously now not going to be in the top 5 after he gets passed here in a moment, but we're going to see more cars drop off. We go back up to the front here, see if anyone else drops off. These guys are going to start dropping off, and really, I think who has the best chance of getting this win is going to be Jeff Gilmore and Aiden Young and Richard Fletcher.
I think
3 wide for the lead.
3 wide for the lead.
Oh, caution!
Out! Winner! The 40 might be out of gas. Will he be able to make it back? The winner might be the 23.
And I'm looking for the caution here. It was Jeff Gilmore, so that brings up the question of what happened. We're going to take a look at this real quick, see if we can't figure out what happens here, and then go back up and focus on what's happening for the win. There was the lapped car of Joe Hudson in the way. Nothing he could have done there. He was, giving them all the room he could down on the bottom, and they were 3 wide. There was just nowhere to go. That ended up being a wreck. And that's what that wreck, or that caution was. That was huge. But David Dolliver currently scored your leader. Kevin Masson second. What's going on up there, Zach?
Well, from what I'm seeing, I think the 40 might be legitimately out of gas, and the drivers are trying to hold up, stay behind him. iRacing's telling them to. But the 40 might be out of gas. Our winner might be the 23 of David Dolliver.
Yeah, I would guess that the 40's out of gas. I would guess David Dolliver likewise will be your winner. We see a car sideways under pacing. Who was that?
I have no clue. I've just been focused up here. And the 23 might be out of gas coming down the back stretch.
The 26 is out. The 26 is out. He was the car that was sideways. We're going to see if we can't get a look at that, why he was sideways there. Maybe trying to slow down? I'm not sure. We'll watch here. Looks like he ended up in the wrong gear. Yeah, I'd say he was trying maybe to downshift into another gear to get going or something, and maybe restart the truck. And on the banking, that's hard to do. Back to the front, though, David Oliver possibly out of gas. So what's this going to... Kurt Rittenberg goes by. I see that going on.
Kurt Rittenberg
I think, is your winner.
Yeah, if he can even coast back to the line, this is the white flag lap. We haven't crossed anything for checkered yet. If he can coast back to the line, Kurt Rittenberg will be our winner.
Well, what's interesting is Matthew Miller's ahead of him.
Oh.
Matthew Miller just went across the line. He's currently scored first. David Dolliver scored second, but we know he's coasting out of gas. I don't know what's going to go on for the winner here. We're going to have to await official review because we've got several trucks who are out of gas here, I think. I think the 00 is out of gas. He's only going 45 miles an hour. The motor's still running. He may be able to get back, but currently your leader and currently your unofficial winner is Matthew Miller in the number 78 Las Vegas Strong Chevrolet Silverado. So we're going to wait around. We're going to wait on official review. We're going to go to a quick commercial break here in a moment. See if we can't figure out what just happened.
Oh, wow.
This is crazy. This is the most confusing, most crazy part out of the entire race right here.
And I thought the 00 would have this win. There was a bunch of drivers on the last lap I thought would have the win. We're just going to have to wait and see what the admins say here.
Well, as I mentioned, we're going to let them have their time to sort this out. We're going to go to a commercial break and come back in just a few moments and hopefully figure out what's going on here for the winner. Because, we see the unofficial results. We'll go through those real quick. That's going to be Matthew Miller, your winner so far. Then Kurt Rittenberg in the 00, Jeff Gilmore in the 57 in third, Aiden Young in fourth, David Oliver fifth, Kevin Mass sixth, Jeremy Rittenberg seventh, Mike Perry in eighth, Randy Roberts in ninth, Richard Fletcher in 10th. That's currently your top 10. That's unofficial, as I mentioned. We don't know if that's going to stick or not, but just in case, we're going to stick with the number 78 here as we go to commercial break, and we'll be right back. All
Who do
right,
you
and
want up
once
first?
more, we are awaiting official call from the officials. Um, we pulled Jeremy Rittenberg aside for a moment. He is kind of the lead admin over here in the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series, I do believe. It's between him and Kurt, really. They're not totally sure yet. They're going to go back and review tape and review exactly what happened. Once more, though, we'll go through your current unofficial running order, and then we'll start getting some post-race interviews with guys who stick around. So I'll go ahead and take the top 10 if you take the 11th through 20th. So first, we've got Matthew Miller, currently out of the Atlantic region on iRacing, then Kurt Rittenberg out of Michigan. Jeff Gilmore, Aiden Young, David Dolliber will round out your top 5. Kurt Rittenberg and David Dolliber are going to be your 2 chase drivers in your top 5. Kevin Mass, Jeremy Rittenberg, who's in the chase, Mike Perry, who's in the chase, Randy Roberts, and Richard Fletcher will round out your top 10.
And here we have who led most of the laps today, possibly even a contender to win, Chris Jennings finishing 11th, 2 laps down after running out of gas, 2 laps shy of the checkered flag. Matthew Cox is 12th, Mike Kelly is 13th, Joe Hudson 14th, Scott Simile in 15th, Doug McCollum 16th, Cody Spiker in 17th, Mike Payton 18th, Dale Island Jr., I believe that name is, being 19th, Blake O'Connell 20th. I believe that is most of the chase right there. That's the rest of the chase.
Yeah, I believe Jeremy Bazemore is the only driver not listed in your top 20 that we just went through that is in the chase. What you're seeing now is a replay. It's completely a replay. This is not live footage that you're seeing. We're just going to replay exactly what goes on with the number 78 as we're going to we're going to pull some guys aside here in just a moment to try and get a talk with them, see if we can't get their thoughts on tonight. Definitely one heck of a race here, Zach. I'll let you pull a couple of guys into the interview waiting room, and we'll bring them up in a moment.
Alrighty, let me get some guys in the waiting room real quick. But yeah, that was some intense racing. I was on the edge of my seat. I don't know if you guys watching were too, but I was on the edge of my seat watching this, seeing if they could maybe hash it out for the win or possibly save enough gas coming down towards the end of it. But man, that was some racing right there, man. I had a good time.
For sure, that was definitely really, really intense there, but as I mentioned, we'll get a few guys pulled aside here. I guess we may as well just go down the line from the bottom up. We'll start with the number 67, I suppose. See if we can't get him pulled aside into the interview waiting room. Actually, 67 looks like maybe he's disconnected from the TeamSpeak room. So who do we got here, Zach?
I could pull down David Dolliber if you'd like, try to get his thoughts on it.
Pull anyone aside, man.
All right. I might go in and talk to them, just kind of tell them that get their interview and then bring them in here.
All right. Well, I think then we're going to get Jeff Gilmore in the room while you go ahead and do that. Jeff Gilmore, this is Andrew up in the booth. You got a copy?
I do. How's it going?
Well, it's going pretty interestingly, I guess. That's all we can say right now. We're waiting official review on that. We're going to get some interviews with as much of the field as we can. So real quick, what are your thoughts on tonight's 60-lap event? We saw you get entangled in some incidents there, but you managed to keep it going for as long as you could and, do as best as you could. Definitely a good job by you out there tonight. So what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it was a crazy race and a lot of strategies played out there. You got to do what you got to do at certain points of the race just to survive. So, it was a back and forth kind of deal. I had some damage, 2 minutes of damage I had, but I was able to, if I was up in the lead pack, I was able to maintain with them. And we actually were catching that lead pack there, the group in behind there at the end. So, would have been good if we had missed a slower lap car there and then obviously that last wreck. But yeah, they're going to have a job figuring that out because a lot of guys ran out there on the last lap. So
for sure. Well, Real quick, is there anyone you want to thank for doing the best they could to get you as great of a run as you could tonight?
Oh yeah, I want to thank a lot of guys there, even guys that really aren't my teammates, but teammates Cody, Matthew, Blake, and Aiden. Those guys were awesome out there. And Aiden had a good run. He looked like he was going to do really well. Ran out, and looks like Matthew might sneak away with a win there too. Actually, so we'll see about that. Also want to thank TN Designs, my sponsor and sponsor of the telecast. There, that's a great job you guys do. And yeah, so we'll see how it goes.
All right. Well, thank you very much, man. Definitely thank you for your time and the shout outs there. We'll let you go back and catch up with your team best as you can here. Once more, congratulations on the run. Maybe not what you wanted, but third place is definitely very strong.
Yeah, we'll see if it stands. Like I said, passing under yellow there at the end because guys are out of fuel. So.
All right, for sure. Well, once more, thanks for your time. We'll move you back up. All right, and we're going to bring aside David Dolliber. David Dolliber, this is Andrew up in the booth. You got a copy?
Hey, how you doing?
Pretty good, but I imagine you're probably a little bit bittersweet here as we await official results. We still haven't got them, so we're just going through as much of the field as we can, get interviews with anyone we can. So you're one of the chase drivers. Really, we saw tonight one of the best ones out there, aside from maybe Chris Jennings and maybe Jeremy Rittenberg, if you wanted to make the argument. But you definitely did a great job out there in that number 23. Even with a little bit of damage to the front end, you did a spectacular job, man, I have to say. So definitely tell us what you can about how you were approaching the back half of that race, especially with that little big long run you had.
Well, the idea was to hook up with Doug and try to get him to the front, and then we were lined up pretty good there, and we're just letting it play out. And I don't know how I got the lead, but I held it for probably 4 or 5 laps, and then I got freight trained, and then the fuel came in. So
for sure, well, definitely, one heck of a run. If the standings hold, currently you would be put into 5th, but like we said, we're awaiting official review to make sure the results are what they are, or make any changes if needed. So we'll be awaiting that, and we'll definitely make a point of seeing where you ended up since you are in the chase. Is there anyone you want to thank for your run tonight, man?
well, I'd like to thank you for broadcasting, the league, my teammates, Kurt, Doug, Jeremy. We did a little bit of practice, and I think that helped out. So.
All right, well, thanks for your time, man. We can make one official call real quick. We're waiting the rest of the field, but currently we can confirm that Matthew Miller will be your winner, so we're going to make sure to interview him last, actually. Get everyone else a chance before him. So, David Alber, once more, thank you for your time. We'll move you back down into the interview waiting room. And, Zach, I'll let you kind of just pick anyone you want and go fishing real quick.
So I'm sorry, what was the official call?
The official call on the race winner is that Matthew Miller and the number 78 is your winner. So we'll make sure to wait on his interview until we've got as many from the rest of the field as we can. So I will let you pretty much just pick it random aside from Matt Miller and David Delber, who have already talked to you out of that interview waiting room right there.
All right, well, I'm getting ready to pull in Aiden Young up in here. Matthew is asking, however, if he's going to get an interview, if he's watching the stream. The answer is yes. We're just gonna wait until everyone's got their opinion out on the end of the race. So we're gonna pull Aiden up here real quick. Aiden, Zach up here in the booth. How's it going, buddy?
Going pretty well.
Well, it was an intense race coming down towards the end of it there. A lot of fuel mileage played into it. We heard that you might have ran out of fuel. Is there anything you possibly could have done differently to try to put yourself up in front and save fuel, or what was on your mind coming down towards the end of the end of the laps there?
I probably could have, but it was so late in the race that I wouldn't have made it anyways. I was looking at my fuel mileage. It just wasn't adding up in my head. So I just decided to pit and get a little fuel because I knew a lot of guys would run out of fuel and maybe get a win.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that at all. We were actually talking up here in the booth, seeing if anyone was going to dive down. We were very focused on the leaders, seeing if they did. I must have missed you going to pit road. I heard that you might have ran out, but yeah, I mean, there's nothing wrong with that strategy at all. When you came in, did you feel like your race was over, or did you feel like you still had a really good shot at it?
No, not really. I felt like I still had a good shot, just as long as I didn't go a lap down. So I just wish it would have been the win, but I'll take a 4th place.
Yeah, that's unofficial as of right now. But yeah, if this holds, you're right now sitting in 4th. That is one heck of a finish. We'll go ahead and throw you down. Congrats on the top 5 if it holds, man. But yeah, we wish you the best of luck in the future weeks. Thank you for coming up here and sharing with us what you thought, and we'll catch you next time, bud.
Yep.
Now, as we move on to another driver here for an interview, I can confirm your top 5, thanks to the admins, Kurt and Jeremy Rittenberg. Shout out to them. They're doing everything they can up there in the booth to make sure the order is straight for the end of the race here. So, your top 5 is going to be Matthew Miller, Kurt Rittenberg, Jeff Gilmore, Aiden Young, and David Dolliver. So that move by Aiden Young probably paid off. He probably would have been in that wreck right there if he hadn't have come in. So that's one heck of a move for him. Next up, though, we're going to bring aside Blake O'Connell. He had a really rough outing here at Talladega Super Speedway. So Blake O'Connell, you got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, as I was just mentioning, as we pulled you aside into the booth here, definitely not what you wanted. It was only a rough outing for you tonight in the number 67 Chevy Silverado. But what can you tell us about the bitter race that you were here for?
Yeah, we had some really high hopes for the night. The whole team was kind of trying to figure out what kind of strategy we wanted to play, whether we'd try to stay up front or we'd fall to the back, at least for the beginning of the race. My whole thought was I wanted to get up front and stay out front because I thought that would be the safest place to avoid the wrecks, and well, I ended up causing one, so that's definitely my fault, and I definitely want to apologize to everyone that was involved in that. But for the amount of time we were out there, it felt real fun. Matt was pushing great. I'm not sure if they sorted it out or not, but if he got the win, then definitely happy for him. A crazy finish tonight, huh?
Oh, most definitely. It was. I'm sorry to interrupt, Andrew, but yeah, it was one crazy finish. I just had to put my 2 cents in there. Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, no, like Zach said, it was definitely one crazy finish. I was just communicating with the admins there a bit, but the win will hold for Matthew Miller. He will be your winner here tonight. The rest of the top 5, as we mentioned, will be Kurt Rittenberg, Jeff Gilmore, Aiden Young, and David Dolliver. So that has been deemed official by the race admins, the top 5 at least. So we're just waiting on the rest of the top 20 if we can't get the whole field. That way we can read this off to you. But if it holds, I don't see any reason why it wouldn't for you, Blake. You'll end up 20th. The good news is, you're not really losing anything. You're out here for the rest of the season just going at it. So I guess that's the light at the end of the tunnel for you. Maybe not the best light at the end of the tunnel, but it's something. So we'll catch up with you next week at Kansas. Nothing to be ashamed of here tonight. And have a good one, man.
10-4, thank you.
All right, Zach, you have your choice of basically Mike Payton, Randy Yarvis, Richard Fletcher. Go ahead and take your pick, man.
All right, so let me see. We are going to move up. What number is Mike Payton again? I apologize.
Mike Payton would be the 08.
All right, so we're going to move up the 08 of Mike Payton. Mike Payton, this is Zach up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, Zach, go ahead.
Well, you had a strong race going out there. You hold on just 1 second. I apologize. You finished 18th, 29 laps down. A rough night. tell us about your race. Tell us what you had coming in, what you thought was going to happen.
Well, I mean, I had a car that was capable of getting up there. I'm not sure about the win, but I was capable of running top 5. We got caught up in that early wreck. I mean, I almost made it through, and then Scott's car came down right in front of me. It took quite a while to finish the damage. That's how I got 29 laps down, obviously. But once they fixed my car, I was at pace. So I just decided to go back out there and help my teammates out.
Well, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, helping out a teammate, especially some in need, is the best thing to do. But yeah, rough night for you. Like you said, you almost got through it, and it bit you right there at the end of it. But nothing to hang your head about. I mean, it's Talladega. Stuff happens, man. But like you said, you thought you had some speed coming in. Did you think the big one was going to happen that early in the race?
Well, I actually thought no, I didn't expect it that early. I expected one probably about 15 laps in, because everyone here, the field is just so tight. But it happened early, so we get back out there. I'm helping my teammates. We caught the pack the one time, and then we were catching back up, but everybody was running out of gas. So I pushed Richard to the front, and I was trying to drag Randy along, and then all of a sudden Joe was there, and I did not realize he was that far off pace.
Yeah, I got you. It just a rough night all around, but hey, you still came in the top 20 unofficially as of right now, but if everything does hold, I believe 18th will be your finishing position. That's still nothing to hang your head about after everything that you went through tonight. That's still a good finish. We hope the best for you, and we'll talk to you next week at Kansas.
I appreciate it, Zach. We'll definitely be there at Kansas. We put a new coat of paint on there, a little bit of Bondo. We'll be good to go.
Hey, I'm looking forward to that. Everybody loves a new splash of paint on their truck.
We definitely need some.
Alrighty, bud. Well, have a good night, and we hope to see you next week.
Thanks, guy.
All right, Angie, you have the pick on next one. We have Randy Roberts and Richard Fletcher, and also Joe Hudson. Go ahead and take your pick.
All right, well, I definitely got to try and pull aside Joe Hudson once more. We talked to you last week, Joe. This week, unfortunately, not in the same circumstances. Definitely not in really good circumstances at all. But Joe Hudson, do you have a copy? Try and dial him up once more. Joe Hudson, this is Andrew up in the booth. You got a copy? All right, we'll let him work on the mic situation for a moment. Now, though, we're going to go ahead and pull aside Mike Payton's teammate, Richard Fletcher. Richard Fletcher, this is Andrew up in the booth. You got a copy?
Sure do. Go ahead.
Well, man, I mean, we don't get to talk about you often, unfortunately. Definitely would like to see you up in the front more, but this is the perfect place to talk about you. We talked about you a lot, really, at one point, midpoint of the race. Definitely, like I said, good thing to get some attention to that number 43 truck, as we see you getting better each week in I can't English right now. I'm so sorry. We've been at this for almost 2 hours. Week in, week out, you get better. That's what I was trying to say. So nice to be able to catch up to us, to you after the race here. You finished currently top 10 if everything holds, so definitely hopefully the sign of bigger and better things to come. Because I struggled the last couple of weeks to get caught up in a couple of things, but this week you turned that all around, man. You ended up, like we said, top 10. So what can you tell us about that and moving forward?
Well, I love Talladega, and we had a good strategy tonight. The Over the Hill gang. Randy was our leader tonight. He was really helping me get up through the field. We planned on staying back in the back, taking our time, and with about 35 laps to go when that caution come out, with one lap before the green, both him and I made the decision to come in and get some gas. And luckily, the group we was in, that second pack, we stayed, single file, caught them, and I had enough gas. Randy was running out of gas because he was leading the whole pack the whole way, so he let me go by, and I was leading that second pack when I started hearing all these cars losing their fuel and pulling off. And I thought, man, I've got it made. And then the big wreck happened.
Yeah, for sure. We saw in the background as that one happened. It was definitely really unfortunate to see. I mean, I thought you guys maybe were in a position to really make up some positions there. As you know, we saw Chris Jennings run out of fuel. You were sixth at that point, moving into fifth, and then it looked like the 40 had run out of gas just as that wreck happened in the back that caused that final caution. But definitely a great run from your number 43 team. Hopefully, we see more of you as we go into the last few weeks of the season here in the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series. So, with that said, is there anyone you want to thank tonight?
I just want to thank the team I'm with, Mike Payton, Louis Robinette, and Randy Roberts. They've really helped me. I'm a rookie here, so I've got a long way to go, and I'm just having a lot of fun doing it.
For sure. Well, once again, hopefully we have to talk to you more in the future. Hopefully we see more great runs from you in the coming weeks. We'll let you go ahead and catch up with your team now, as we're going to pull aside your teammate Randy Roberts.
Thank you.
All right, like I said, we're going to bring in Randy Roberts. Zach, I'll let you catch up with him.
Randy Roberts, it's Zach up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Loud and clear, Zach.
Righty, well, we were talking to some of your teammates there. They were saying that, had a good run going. Maybe not the finish you might have wanted, but hey, you still got a top 10, I do believe. Yes, sir, top 10, ninth place unofficially. But, tell us how your race was going, what you expected coming in.
Well, this is Talladega, and I expected a few big wrecks. And we got our first two pretty early. We were able to miss those. And I was working with Richard. Two of our teammates had already crashed out. So I had Richard with me, and I told him we're going to dip in the pits and we're going to get fuel on that with 2 to go on that last caution. And I noticed some of the damaged cars came with us, and we formed a group. And as per the way it had been going, the front pack got away from us, but we ran them down, and then they had a little snafu, and we lost touch with them again, and then we ran them down again. And just before we got to them, with about 5 to go, we ran across the car that was doing about 145 miles an hour up in the upper lane. And didn't see him.
Oh, I apologize. Continue.
That's okay. I was tucked up so close on Mike Payton that I didn't see him. And it caused a little hell to break loose. But since I was pulling that group, I was burning more fuel than they were, and I still didn't have enough fuel, and I ran out of gas.
Yeah, we were talking about the gas situation that might have been going on during the race, and unfortunately I wasn't able to see what happened up there on the back. I was kind of watching the front runner see if they were to run out or anything, but it's harsh getting not taken out by a lap car, but when the lap car when it doesn't happen the way you want it to, it's definitely harsh. But when you came in that last time, did you think you might have had just enough to sneak by for possibly a good finish, or just to finish, or did you think that maybe you might have been running out of gas? What was your mindset on that last caution? Did you think there was going to be another caution, that kind of thing?
Well, I knew I had damaged cars in my group. And I knew when I came in that I had 32 laps to go, and by all rights I should have made it, but I needed somebody in front of me for a portion of that run, and that didn't happen. But I was happy to pull the guys up. If it had been for that last caution, Richard Fletcher would have won the race, and that was my job, was to pull him up, since I knew I couldn't make it. He was going to make it, and he would have won the race had there not been a caution. But congrats to the guy who did win, because he was able to miss all that melee, and he had a lot of damage, but he still pulled it off.
Yeah, that's definitely good to hear. An heck of a teammate trying to pull your teammate up there. You knew you were not going to make it, sacrifice yourself for your teammate. I mean, that hits me in the heart, man. That gets me good. But you had a good run going. Like you said, it still finished unofficially top 10, I believe. We've got a confirmation on the top 10, I believe. I think you might have finished 9th, but tough way to end it. But hey, you still got that top 10. Look forward to seeing you guys at Kansas. Anyone you want to thank before we take you out?
Well, I definitely want to thank Black Label Beer and my teammates over at Over the Hill Motorsports.
It's great to hear, man. All right, well, we'll catch up with you at Kansas. Hopefully you have a good run there, better finish, let's just say, than you had here. But yeah, we're looking forward to seeing you guys run at Kansas.
Sure thing. Looking forward to it.
Thanks, Randy.
You bet.
All right, well, I think there's only one person we have left to talk to now, Andrew, and I think that's the 78. I believe he was declared the winner, if I'm not wrong.
Well, first we're going to see if we can get Joe Hudson aside. So, Joe Hudson, this is Andrew up in the booth. You got a copy? Joe Hudson, one more time. This is Andrew up in the booth. Do you have a copy, man? All right, well, unfortunately, I don't think we'll be able to talk to Joe Hudson tonight. As we continue to let the admins comb through these results here, we have the confirmation on the top 5. We'll go through that one more time before we get to talk to Matthew Miller, your winner tonight. Once again, Matthew Miller confirmed your winner. He's in the number 78 Vegas Strong Chevrolet Silverado. Great run by him to just kind of outlast these guys with attrition. Kurt Rittenberg out of Michigan will take second. Jeff Gilmore out of Canada third. Aiden Young and David Dolliver, both out of New England, will take fourth and fifth respectively. So, with that said, we're going to get our race winner, Matthew Miller, up here. Matthew Miller, you got a copy, bud?
Yeah, I gotcha.
All right, well, got you loud and clear, man. First off, congratulations on such a big win tonight in year number 78. What can you tell us about that last run and what was going through your mind and how you were trying to play that one?
Well, first off, I just want to say, it's pretty cool to get this win with the Vegas Strong paint scheme. I just want this win to be dedicated to all them. Prayers out to them. But no, this race was crazy. Yeah, you gotta go from third to being wrecked to losing hope to making the call to win the race on fuel mileage. But no, that last long run we had, I was just running, at the back of that 5-car pack we had going, and that gave me the advantage to lift in the corners and really save as much fuel as I needed, because I had a feeling it was going to come down to the fuel mileage and knowing that the leaders were 2 laps short. But man, was that a wild race.
All right, well, once more, congratulations on the win. Before we wrap this one up with you, man, gotta ask, on that last half of the run, or just the last half of the race, we were kind of guessing as to what you guys were doing to maybe make it the rest of the way. We noticed when you guys had pitted last and that you were running a few more laps than we had projected based on what we got in practice, that information. But what were you guys doing there? We assume that you were maybe holding back on the throttle, maybe running half, 3/4 throttle. Can you confirm that for us?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Jeff, my teammate, great set of team here at TN Designs, and he made the call to come in, 1 lap to go, coming to green on that last caution there, and we kind of just went by it, and yeah, I was just half throttle, and it, like I said, being the last car in that second pack really gave me the advantage. I could half throttle in the turns, and in the straightaways, I could just throttle it enough to catch up, and then lay back in the turns, and I'm just glad I did it because it paid off.
For sure. Well, you've already mentioned a few of the guys that you're probably going to want to shout out, but real quick, who do you want to shout out tonight for helping you get this big win?
Yeah, I gotta, first off, thank you for, putting this broadcast together. My sponsors, TN Designs, PSI Insider. I gotta thank all the racers and admins here at ASSR. I mean, they've 26 car turnout. We're getting a lot of bigger fields, and the racing just keeps getting better and better.
All right, for sure, man. Well, thanks for your time. Thanks for coming out here. Thanks for running the PSI and TN Designs colors on your truck. Definitely a great run from you tonight to pick up that win based on attrition and fuel mileage. So once more, congratulations to you, man. Go celebrate this one.
10-4, man. It's a blast.
All right, well, that was your race winner, Matthew Miller. So, real quick, before we check one more time on the results, we've got about 7.5 minutes remaining in our broadcast allotted time. So, real quick, I may as well ask you here, Zach, what are your final thoughts on tonight's race?
I mean, it blew away everything I was expecting. I was expecting a big field coming down towards the checkered and a huge wreck. Instead, we got a fuel mileage race, and we still got a wreck right there at the end. And I mean, we got so much of a fuel mileage race that drivers were dropping out, and we didn't even know who was the winner. But and it blew away everything that I was expecting out of this race. And I was on the edge of my seat pretty much the whole time. It was crazy. I enjoyed it. I hope everyone that was watching enjoyed it. But man, I had a good time. I'm exhausted, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, that was definitely one heck of a race to call. I thank you for helping me out tonight. It was definitely very much needed and very much welcomed. Definitely appreciate it a ton, man. And I'm going to flash up the website, or well, the Facebook page, and then the website that you can go to, just in case we don't get the results here officially in the next few minutes. We do have to go off air in about 6 minutes. So we're going to put that up. And, I mean, I can confirm, Zach, if you would read it off, that the top 5 is correct. We're assuming the rest of the field is correct, but we can't assume for certain. So we will await some more results. So Zach will let you read it off.
All right, so the top 5 for the race, yeah?
Officially, yes.
All right. I just wanted to make sure. Well, as we just spoke to him, our winner, Matthew Miller, will take home the win in the number 78 truck. Kurt Rittenberg, a chase driver, highest chase driving finisher today, will finish second in the 00. Jeff Gilmore will finish third. Aiden Young finished fourth. And rounding out our top 5, our second chase driver, David Dolliver, will finish fifth.
Now, unofficially, the rest of your top 10 currently is Kevin Mass, Jeremy Rittenberg, Mike Perry, and Randy Roberts, and Richard Fletcher. So, like I said, we're working on flashing up the website and the Facebook information so you can make sure to catch up with All-Star Sim Racing anytime you want via Facebook and their website. Working on that right now.
Yeah, as unofficially right now, Chris Jennings, 11th. Matthew Cox, 12th. Mike Kelly, 13th. Joe Hudson, 14th. Scott Simile, I don't know why I have such a hard time with that last name. I apologize. Will finish 15th. Doug McCollum finished 16th. Cody Spiker finished 17th. Mike Payton, 18th. Dale Idland Jr., 19th. Blake O'Connell, 20th.
All right, and once more, currently these results are unofficial, but we're waiting on the official call from the admins. Now, meantime, we're going to bring up the ticker here with the All-Star Sim Racing social media info. Working on that right now.
Let us know in the comments, though, what you guys thought of the race, everyone watching. I mean, it was one heck of a race. I hope everyone was on their seats cheering them on as they came around, possibly trying to save fuel, going for the win. But let us know what you guys thought about the finish at the end. I mean, we'd like to hear what you guys are thinking about and talking about, so let us know.
Yeah, for sure. We do have the stream up for another 5 or so minutes, so please, down below in the comment section, we'll check the live comments here in a minute. Let us know what you thought of that race and what you think of currently the results, and maybe who your favorite driver is here at the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series, or if you were one of the drivers maybe tuning in post-race, definitely let us know what your thoughts of the race were tonight from your perspective. Real quick though, as you have the information for the social media of the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series, we're going to go to a quick commercial break and hopefully be back with both of our admins here at the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series to get you some results.
In this cauldron of fiery wills and burning competition, rivalries heat up quicker. This is an oval of stolen victories and crushed dreams, filled with volumes of unfinished business. Sooner or later, you all become rivals. With everyone fighting over one finish line, there's never enough glory to go around.
All right, and we're back here at Pit Stop Insider TV. Real quick, thanks for everyone who has tuned in so far tonight. We have currently on hand the two chief admins here at the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series. That's Kurt Rittenberg and Jeremy Rittenberg. Guys, can you tell us a little bit about the results here tonight, since it was kind of a melee there as we came to the end?
Yeah, it was nothing but a crazy finish that we weren't really ready for. But some of the rules that we have in place, we went back and made sure through all of the replays just to make sure iRacing was correct. Was that if they don't keep the maintain the pace speed, they're going to start dropping back. And of course, people running out of gas, they're going to start requesting the tows. They will start losing their spots. What's really good about our rule with the tow rule and the maintaining pit speed is it's kind of the same concept that iRacing has in place anyway. So as we went through to make sure where everybody was dropping speed, it coincided right with iRacing. So the way the finishing order happened is it just kind of worked out really well.
Awesome. Well, thanks guys for spending the extra time to make sure things were right. Even after that grueling race, we've talked with Kurt already, but both of you, I mean, I'll just let it go to you two, to give us any of your final thoughts on tonight's race.
Really, being Talladega, I was kind of expecting even more of a wreck fest, I guess. We had a few deals, at the beginning, and then all of a sudden everything just kind of went to a smooth motion. So having the wrecks and the passing and different strategies, and actually having Talladega come down to a fuel mileage race that was awesome. That was a heck of a finish tonight. That was great.
For sure. Well, Kurt, is there anything you want to say on tonight?
I'd say being that fuel, especially toward the end of the run, trying to calculate going, almost 200 mile an hour was a challenge. Me and all the teammates were trying to figure out what we were going to do at the very end there with 5 laps to go, if we were going to go higher, stay in the bottom, and then trying to calculate fuel. The way I came up, I was about a half a lap short, and that's when, especially when that caution came out, that saved me big time, because I thought I could make it until the last lap came about, and that's when I realized that I wasn't going to make it and he wasn't going to be good. We thought about pitting earlier during that caution. All of us did, but all the cars went in, and then we decided to stay up toward the front. But with that last caution coming out, kind of saved a lot of us to make it to the end. Fun race, though. I mean, a lot of tight and really fast tonight.
For sure. Well, thank you guys for your time, both as admins and drivers, and now interviewees. So definitely appreciate it up here. I know Zach and I are feeling the maybe not the same kind of fatigue, but just as much fatigue as you drivers probably were at some point in that race. So we'll go ahead and read off the results one final time. Matthew Miller will take the win. Kurt Rittenberg in second. Jeff Gilmore third. Aiden Young fifth. David Oliver in fifth. Kevin Mass in sixth. Jeremy Rittenberg taking home seventh. Mike Perry will take home 8th, Randy Roberts and Richard Fletcher will round out your top 10.
Again, Chris Jennings finishes P11, Matthew Cox P12, Mike Kelly P13, Joe Hudson P14, Scott Simile P15. I actually got that name right. Doug McCollum P16, Cody Spiker 17th, Mike Payton 18th, Dale Island Jr. 19th, and last but not least, Blake O'Connell finishing P20.
We've got Jimmy North, Jeremy Bazemore, Jimmy McKee, 21st, 22nd, 23rd, Josh Cheney, 24th, Scott Brotherton in 25th, and Lee Robinette will round out your field in 26th. So, once more, thank you guys, Kurt and Jeremy Rittenberg, for having us in the first place and taking the extra time tonight. Thank you, everyone watching. Thank you, Scott Brotherton Images, Oliver Mobile Fleet Repair, TN Designs, Pit Stop Insider. Thank you, everyone who pours so much support into the broadcasts and the league. Definitely appreciate it. This has been the All-Star Sim Racing Manifold Truck Series with PSI TV on board. Thank you for having us. We'll catch you next week.